This is an iPhone 6s Plus and this is an iPhone 7 Plus. Should I buy an iPhone 6s Plus or an iPhone 7 Plus? Coming up right now, let's go. iPhone 6s Plus versus 7 Plus. So the first thing I noticed right away between these devices is the antenna lines are now better hidden on the iPhone 7 Plus, especially the black models, the jet black model here, as well as the matte black edition. Also, you're going to notice that that camera design is definitely different here for the 6s Plus, that 12 megapixel camera with a dual tone LED flash. Now on the iPhone 7 Plus, we have a dual camera setup here, which has a 12 megapixel standard camera, as well as the telephoto lens, which is also 12 megapixel, which opens up portrait mode, which blurs the background and has a depth effect. Pretty awesome stuff here. Now, in terms of the design and the build of both of these devices, the iPhone 7 Plus was a little bit lighter than the 6s Plus. It feels that way, and overall I think it feels a little bit more premium, a little bit better put together than the 6s Plus. Although that's not to say the 6s Plus wasn't nicely put together. It's an extremely well built smartphone. I just think the 7 Plus subtly improves on the overall build quality of the 6s Plus in my personal experience. Now, in terms of the software on the iPhone 6s Plus versus the iPhone 7 Plus, the software experience is very similar. And, you know, whether you go with the 6s Plus or you go with the iPhone 7 Plus, you guys are not going to notice hardly any difference, if any difference at all, in the software. Now, it does run a little bit faster, only slightly faster on the iPhone 7 Plus, but an overall experience, you're going to have the same experience on either device, which is to say a very polished, very good experience here on the latest iOS 10.2.1 for both devices, and both bring reachability due to their larger sizes here, which is very useful in day-to-day actions, and both implement the 3D touch function right here. But we're going to talk a little bit more about 3D touch and how it feels a bit better on the 7 Plus later in the video here. But in terms of the weight of both of these devices, holding them day-to-day, the iPhone 7 Plus, like I said earlier, feels a little bit lighter, and definitely the jet black is grippier. If you go with a metal design, you're gonna have a slippery phone in the metal designed iPhone 7 Pluses or 7s. And overall, I just gotta say that the design is lighter and it feels better on the 7 Plus in my experience. Now, 3D touch has been implemented on both devices. 6s was the first one to bring in, and this is a feature that a lot of people say, you know, I don't need this feature. But once you start using 3D touch, you really don't want to go to a phone that does not have 3D touch anymore. And I found that it performs just slightly more enjoyable here on the iPhone 7 Plus due to the fact that that taptic engine, it's just more subtle. The vibration is not as aggressive as on the 6s Plus, so it just feels better to touch the 3D touch on the iPhone 7 Plus. But that's just my take on it. You might differ, and that's cool too. But you also will feel the vibration on the control center, as well as dragging down the notification center on the 7 Plus, where you won't feel that on the iPhone 6s Plus. Now, battery life on the 6s Plus has been good, but I wouldn't qualify battery life as great here for the 6s Plus. It will get you 1 to 2 days if you're a light user. It'll get you 1 full day if you're a heavy user. So it's good, but not great. A great battery life, in my opinion, would be like 3 days with no charge. And this is definitely going to be an every night charge, or maybe a day or 2 charge, depending on your use case of the 6s Plus, but it's pretty solid. Now, on the 7 Plus, we go up in battery life. We go up to 2,900 milliamps. It's 150 milliamp hours more than the 6s Plus. And all that tech talk means is that it's better battery life. You're getting about an hour better on battery life with the 6s Plus or the 7 Plus here. And that is acceptable, especially when we can keep that same thin, sexy design of the phone, and it gets us better battery life. So that's pretty cool there for the 7 Plus. And standby time on both of these devices is just phenomenal. It's great. You know, you can leave this device at 100% when you go to bed and wake up with maybe 100 or 99%. It's that good on both devices. Now, when we speak of the displays, both of them are very similar. Here on the 6s Plus, you get a Retina HD Full HD display here that's 1080p at 401 pixels per inch, or basically what that means is pretty crispy text here for the iPhone 6s Plus here. Now it has very well balanced colors here for the 6s Plus. It airs a little bit more on the cooler side than the 7 Plus, which airs a little bit more on the warmer side. So it's pretty decent though. It gets pretty bright here, pretty dim. It cannot compete that well with the AMOLED displays or Super AMOLED Samsung displays, which kind of just destroy this display. But the 7 Plus here is a little bit better than the 6s Plus in that it improves the contrast ratio. It's a P3 display, cinema grade, which is basically the same display that they use in cinematography and stuff like that. So if you do photography, your colors are going to be very accurate to real life photo taking. So what that means is when you take a photo, it's very accurate, very realistic looking on the iPhone 7 Plus, and it gets very bright and very dim. But the displays are very subtle improvement on the 7 Plus. You're not going to notice too much, but it is better nonetheless. Now here's a great thing about the 6s Plus and 7 Plus. Case options galore. You have plentiful options here, whether you go with the 6s Plus or 7 Plus. Case makers are all over these phones, and you will have plenty of options to choose from. Now in terms of the camera software, they're about the same on both iPhone 7 Plus and iPhone 6s Plus, but you do have the portrait mode included here, which allows the depth effect here, which allows you to take portrait photos of people and blur the background or objects as well, and it looks pretty nice here. Also, you can zoom up to 10x digital here for the iPhone 7 Plus, where you can only zoom up to 6x digital there on the iPhone 6s Plus, and you also have 2x optical zoom here, which gives you crispy zoom shots here for the iPhone 7 Plus. Well, at least crispy for a phone, but both other than that are about the same, experience, same iPhone camera experience, live photos, retina flash, all that good stuff, slow motion. And if we go into the software, you can see both will record video in up to 4K at 30 FPS, but you can lock the camera lens here on the iPhone 7 Plus, which you cannot do over there on the iPhone 6s Plus, which is a cool little improvement to the 7 Plus. And you can also shoot in at 720p HD at 240 FPS for slow motion. In addition to that, we do have a 7 megapixel front-facing camera here on the 7 Plus, which is definitely better than that 5 megapixel here on the iPhone 6s Plus. Now on the rear, you do have a dual tone flash there on the 6s Plus, and I do want to mention that on the 7 Plus, it's a quad LED flash here. So that flash, even when you're using it as a flashlight, is definitely brighter there on the 7 Plus, and I think you will appreciate that. Now we're gonna do a little quick performance test here. We will do a more in-depth performance test if you guys go ahead and request it, but you can see going into settings about the same here. Let's go into, the calendar applications. You can see the performance is almost identical. Yes, the 7 Plus is slightly, subtly faster, but I don't think this is gonna make much of a difference in everyday life. I've used both devices extensively now, and neither one of them have, the 7 Plus has not improved on the 6s Plus in no way, shape, or form that has been life-changing at all. I could get everything done on the 6s Plus that I could get done here on the 7 Plus. Like I say, the 7 Plus improves in other ways other than performance. It does improve in performance technically, but I think for most people in the real world, these improvements are not going to show, at least right now in the year of 2017. Maybe when applications get updated, iOS updates in the future, this will be useful, but both are really great performers currently and about equal in my personal experience in terms of performance. Now, gaming is slightly faster load times on the 7 Plus, but I'm not a big gamer, but I did test a couple of those out. If you guys want to see more in-depth performance tests, be sure to comment that down below in the comment section of this video. We could try to make that happen for you here on the iPhone 6s Plus versus the iPhone 7 Plus here. Now, you will notice that you do have a physical home button here on the iPhone 6s Plus versus that capacitive home button, which is definitely different. You can see it physically presses down here on the 6s Plus, where if I grab the iPhone 7 Plus, it's a capacitive key, which is a touch key. So if you got gloves or anything that you're not using that's your actual skin, it's not going to press all the way down. So you have to get your thumb over that baby, and it is faster, but it does require you to get used to it, and you will adjust, you will adapt to it. We're all adaptable beings, we will adjust to it. So here we're going to perform a dual pocket test of the iPhone 6s Plus versus the iPhone 7 Plus. Both are about the same height and the same width and same weight. So they're going to take up about the same space. And you can see putting both in the pocket, they are bulky phones, big phones. And I actually don't ever really put my phone in the pocket because it just takes up too much space. It's pretty heavy on these phablet devices and it's going to take up a lot of space. There's nothing more to say. If you got smaller jeans here, going in the back pocket, it's going to stick out. Now some ladies I've seen like to show off that Apple logo, and that's cool if that's what you like to do, but it's gonna stick out of your pockets. Now call quality on the iPhone 6s Plus is great. It's pretty HD, it's pretty good sounding, but I found the 7 Plus to sound even better due to the improved stereo sound, and the speaker calls were much better because it has the dual speakers for listening to people on the speakerphone. So I found it to be quite a bit better there on the iPhone 7 Plus. So an obvious advantage to the 6s Plus, depending on who you speak to, is the 3.5mm headset jack, whereas it removes it on the iPhone 7 Plus. But if you use Bluetooth speakers, this is not an issue. It made room for that Taptic engine there in the 7 Plus, but the 7 Plus has better stereo speakers, which both of those speakers are easy to cover though with one finger. So make sure you don't cover them with your fingers. But let's go ahead and check out the samples of both the 6s Plus and the 7 Plus on audio.
If you're self-employed, you're probably keeping track of the miles you drive so you can write them off on your tax.
Other than that, but let's talk more about them here. Let's go ahead and close all the applications out. You can see everything is closed, and let's start our app test. Both are running Android version 6.0.1 Marshmallow. On the Samsung Galaxy S7, you do get the included feature of the always on display here. Always on, where it has this floating clock, which is customizable there on the Samsung Galaxy S7, and on the Note you do not get that feature, but both have LED indicators, so it does not really matter. You're still not going to miss your notifications on either device here. Now I tend to enjoy the Note.
So after taking an in-depth look at both the iPhone 7 Plus and the 6s Plus, which one should you buy? Well, I'm gonna break this down like this. If you already have a 6s Plus, skip this upgrade, but if you're buying one new, go with the 7 Plus. It's an improvement in enough ways to make me recommend it over the 6s Plus. But if you're tight for cash and you wanna save yourself like 400 bucks, the 6s Plus will definitely please you there. But the iPhone 7 Plus improves in almost every way, and it has that A10 quad-core CPU, which will allow this phone to be well updated into the future further than the iPhone 6s Plus. Which one are you gonna buy? Which one would you buy? Do you not care about them? Comment that down below. If you guys enjoyed this video comparison of the 6s Plus versus the 7 Plus, go ahead and click the like button for me down below. That would be appreciated much, and be sure to be well. This was Nick here up in the Master Your Technology. I will catch you all in the next one, and peace.